We have a very special guest in studio today. He is a firefighter, paramedic in St. Louis County, and the founder of Break the Stigma, Inc., the great and powerful Mike Long. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man. Well, we met you over the weekend at the Crossfit Achieve Break the Stigma half marathon, and we got to talking, and I was like, man, you fit all of the criteria for the show. So just really happy to have you in here, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. It's always great to get out and talk about what we do and what's going on in life.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess let's just get right into it. I mean, what is Break the Stigma?
So when we started Break the Stigma, we're going on a little over 2 years now. We started initially as financial assistance for first responders to get mental health care, whether that be locally or going across the country to an inpatient facility. Anything that they need, we covered kind of some of those costs, not necessarily the medical cost, but all of the costs associated with it. Kind of the big kicker for it with me was I had a really good friend that reached out, wanted to go to a facility across the country, couldn't afford his plane tickets. That was the only reason he wasn't going to get help. So I paid for him with my credit card and I said, go get it done. So that's kind of where we founded it from, was that financial assistance, taking all those things away from the excuses, because first responders are great at making excuses about getting help for themselves. So like we've had another case where we've gotten people's grass cut, their house clean, take care of dogs, daycare, whatever it is that they can come up with an excuse. We have financial set aside for that. And then from there, we've kind of built from that. We have our own resource directory with our own clinicians and doctors that work with us on referral basis that we can usually get first responders in within 48 hours to seeing a clinician. It's not that one you call the office, they tell you 6 months, we might be able to see you. It's 48 hours, we'll probably be able to get you in. Or at most we have some that, it's a week out. And then again, we have partnerships with all those offices to where very bare minimal cost out of pocket for a first responder to go see a clinician locally here. And then in January, we actually launched our own education program where we go around the region. We teach in firehouses, ambulance bases, whoever will have us. We do large scale, kind of just invite everybody in a region, have a host facility. And then myself and our clinicians go in and do like a 2-hour talk on basically preventative and proactive care for your mental health. Obviously, with being the name Break the Stigma, there's a huge stigma in first responders where we'll just let it go and go
Be a
and
tough
go.
Guy.
Yeah, that alpha personality and not being able to say you need help. We're real good at helping everybody else, just not ourselves. So, and that's kind of where Break the Stigma came from too, is my own crisis scenario. It was almost 13 years in the service throughout fire and EMS, going back and forth, was doing great, thought I was healthy. About December of 2022, things started to really go downhill. We just had our first kid in September, was going through a transition into a new job, kind of just doing different things. Life took the best of me, and ended up going into a crisis, went into a pretty deep crisis, a lot of substance abuse, rage, just terrible, terrible months of trying to get out of it with local help. That finding people that knew how to deal with what we had to bring to the table was very difficult. Led to a suicide attempt, luckily was unsuccessful. Finally got the right help and came back, and kind of my mission's always been like, I was the guinea pig for it, so nobody else has to go through it. If I can save one life over the next 30, 40 years of my life doing this, that's my goal. So,
thanks for sharing that with us and starting this. I mean, I know for myself, obviously I'm not going through and seeing a lot of the traumatic things that you guys are seeing, but I mean, therapy's changed my life for the best. I've been in it now. Yeah, right. A little over 4 years now. So 2021, August of 21 is when I started, and I go every 2 weeks, and it's and actually the guy that referred me to this therapist that I go to he's with, it's a firefighter, EMT, police officer with DePere.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. I highly recommend all that to people, especially even if you don't think you're going through something. It's just nice to have someone to have those conversations with that you can't really, like, it's not really easy to have those conversations with your friends.
Yeah.
So
that's why I always tell people in our conferences and stuff, I'm like, well, I don't need therapy. I'm like, it's not about the therapy aspect. It's having somebody third party, unbiased, has no idea whose fault is what and what you're dealing with. You go in there and just let it all out. And what I love, like my therapists and the ones we vet and the clinicians we use, is they're really good at, like, you go in and you're like, oh, here's all the things going. My wife's doing this, my kids are that, and the work's doing this, my chief's that. And it's like, well, no, this is you. This is your problem.
You're in the center of all this.
Yeah. And, they're really good at pulling it in, of playing that, we like to play that blame game of our issues. Our issues are someone else's issues. And they're always really good at, I always say, once a year, just go in and let it all out. Let somebody tell you, like, hey, this is something you need to work on, not what they need to work on. But
that's a you problem, not a they problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it ultimately comes back to you.
How you interpret and handle things. So, but I mean, so you're witnessing fragility and morality every single day with what you do. How does that change your sense of what really matters in life?
I think that's a loaded question for a lot of first responders, because we become so numb to what is important in life. Like I know I'm just as guilty, and I can probably speak for most first responders that like have kids. You know, your kid falls down, we look at them and say, get it up, you're fine, it's great. You know, you're not bleeding, it's not missing, you're fine. But, you know, the normal person that doesn't go pull people out of cars or out of burning buildings or deal with the things we do, or, you know, go straight panic with their kids getting hurt, or another person getting hurt. We just become so numb to what really is an issue, to where our threshold of what we consider an issue is so high, and it's difficult to keep that to a minimum. But I would say it's difficult response. I mean, for me, my career was my importance. Like, I would pick work over anything. And then I had a family, became very important. But then after my crisis was when I realized, like, and I hate to say it out loud, but, you know, you're just another number at a job. Like, they'll replace you as soon as you're gone. And then, you know, my family dealing with what they had to deal with through all mine, and then coming back, I'm like, man, they're the only ones that got me through it. My daughter was pretty much the only reason my suicide attempt was unsuccessful. You know, I had a picture of her and her footprints on my arm, and just kept me out from finishing the job. And it's like, wow, that became top priority, because whether I stay a first responder or whatever I decide to do for the rest of my life, they'll always be there. So I think that's it takes a drastic change in our lives to get us to that point to realize what is actually important.
Oh, absolutely. Like, are there statistics and numbers to the number of first responders that need the help but don't get the help, and the ones that do get the help? Like, are there numbers to that?
So there are. It's difficult to track.
Right.
There's a lot of different organizations working on that right now. It's not something that's been tracked up until recent times.
I'm sure so much of it goes unreported.
Yeah, and most of the time,
this is all relative. Like, the health side of things, like the mental side, is all still relatively new within the last, really honestly, since I feel like COVID.
Yeah, that's when it really took a change, to where people were like really focusing and seeing, you know, we all seen the issues, but we just, you know, I always tell people it's like the elephant in the room that you just ignore until it's standing on your chest, and then all of a sudden all you want to do is get rid of it. But now it's like we're slowly starting to transition into an aspect of like, hey, let's just get the elephant out of the room, or make it a little smaller. But yeah, the statistics out there, they're hard to find like solid data, because the way I look at it, and, you know, they'll put numbers out, percentages, you know, anywhere from 10 to 50% of first responders deal with some sort of mental health issue, you know, whether it be depression, anxiety, or PTSD, or whatever they, you know, come up with. But out of that study, you send that to 10,000 first responders. I can tell you, just on my opinion, probably 50 to 60% of those are probably lying. Because if you sent me a questionnaire before I went through everything I went through, 100% I'd have been like, oh, no, I'm great. Yeah, this is great. Yep. Nope. No issues. No issues.
You don't want any like red flags going off. Like, you
is
get laid off.
Is he mentally stable enough to go running into a burning building and save us?
Yeah. Right. And that's a lot of the concerns that we do with talking to first responders and going through all this is, you know, that's the first question. And it was the first question I was asking too, is like, so am I going to lose my job? Like, this is my livelihood. Like, it doesn't just pay my bills. Like, first responders are a weird breed of like, that's our identity. Like, somebody's like, hey, well, you know, hey, I'm Mike. I'm a firefighter. Right. Like, it means nothing to anyone else, but like, that is who we are.
Yeah, and you're proud of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You should be. I mean, that's what you guys do is incredible. And you guys are the ones running into the burning buildings when everybody else is running away.
Yeah. You know? And we're the weird individuals. We got a lot of us that'll, you know, they say we're running in your heroes. You're like, no, we get excited when we get to go inside. Yeah. Like, we see smoke from the engine house we're pulling out. We're all like, okay, let's go. Yep. It's time. You know, we have this weird, like, when it comes to adrenaline, we go straight towards it versus away from it. But no, I think that's the hardest part first responders deal with, is that, because that's the first question you ask is like, oh man, if this shows up on a medical document, or my chief starts questioning me, you know, and they say I'm not fit for duty anymore. Well, fire service is a real cross country's pretty tight knit when it comes to, so you get flagged, you're done. Like, there's no
job at another place.
We're pretty much like high school girls gossiping around, you know, like, you screw up in St. Louis, they'll know in California in a day.
Really? Man. That's tough. That's unfortunate that's, I mean, because when you're going through all that, is there a psych eval that you guys have to go through?
So the initial hiring process for most departments is there's a psych eval built into it. But like I said, and that was what was an amazing experience going out to Maryland. The facility I went to was like their clinicians were 100% trained in our attitudes and our mentalities, because we're all really good at just talking around. I mean, that's what we do for a living. Go to strangers' houses and talk to them and try and figure out what's going on. So we're really good at talking around subjects and getting people to admit. So we'll go to, I'm just as guilty as the rest. I'd go to a therapist and they'd start asking questions, and I'd be able to feed them the biggest line of BS, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're great."
Yeah.
And like, "Okay, sweet. Here's your paper. Go to work."
Right.
And it's not like there's all of us are walking around with the, loaded pistol in our trucks or anything like that. But there's those deep seated issues that are there. And it's like, we're really good at just, to us, we ignore them so long and come numb to them that we don't even know they're there until they come out full force.
Wow. Well, the firefighters that I know are very good at drinking alcohol.
So yeah, that is, I've been sober, a little over 2.5 years now.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. I never was a big drinker. But I will tell you, that's a firehouse and first responder thing, cops, police, EMS, doesn't matter. Like, we used to get off work 8 a.m. in the morning after a whole night of running calls and be like, "All right, what bar's open at 8 a.m.? Let's go get a drink and then we'll go home."
Yeah.
Or, you go to a, firefighter meeting of some kind. It's got to be free booze or they won't show up. And I partook in it, and I fully agree with people still drinking. But for me, I realized quickly that was not my, I have an addictive personality, and it wasn't the way to go for me. But yeah, the substance use in the first responders is.
And it makes sense too. I mean, it's a way for them to kind of numb themselves from what it is that they're going through, but they're really just kicking the can down the road and not really addressing the issue head on.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that was something I dealt with. And when I was drinking throughout my crisis, was like, a couple drinks here and there would take the edge off. The anxiety would go down. I'd feel a little better. And then, after a few weeks of doing that couple drinks wasn't doing it anymore. So now it's, now it's a few more. And then it's like, oh, you go to these doctors and here's some prescriptions, here's a benzo, here's some. Then you're like, oh, I can drink and take some benzos and I feel even better.
Right.
And then it's a vicious cycle of numbing and numbing and numbing. And then it's just.
Well, by that time too, your overall health, I mean, you're physically losing your ability to function and things like that. I mean, it's just a very slippery slope.
It is. And it's a dangerous game for the individual. And then, like, I got taken off my truck whenever I was going through my stuff after about a month of going back and forth. And, that was a huge hit to me. It was like, they told me I wasn't fit for duty anymore. But now looking back, I'm like, I wasn't. Like, I was mentally, and that's the weird part. We trained so long for this and it becomes such of our identity. Like, when I talk about it now, because I do meetings with chief officers and stuff, talking about how they can take care of their guys better and how they can take care of their staff. And it's like, the worst thing you can do is take us out of the firehouse, when you're talking the firefighter aspect. Because for me, like, that was the only sense of normal I had anymore. The 4 days I was off work, life was crazy and I couldn't control it. When I came to work, it's like I knew what my job was.
Structure.
That structure was there, and it was weird. Like, your mentality can be completely screwed, but when those tones go off and it's time to go somewhere, you just snap into a mentality and you're like, all right, it's time to work.
Yeah.
You shut down all that other thought. You get your job done, then you come back and go back to where you were. So,
you think they'd keep you on and just limited roles and because it's that camaraderie, that's that being there around those guys. And again, I mean, having that support staff, you may not be able to really talk to them about what you're feeling, but you can at least be around them and have that camaraderie. I forgot who it was, Jason, that was on here talking about one of the biggest issues with people when they, with depression and coming out of, like I witnessed it with guys with baseball, but like also with the military, is they lose that team aspect and they're all on their own. I mean, you see that with guys coming out of baseball that don't make it, and they lose that locker room feel and that team aspect, and they're by themselves and they spiral.
And they just don't know who they are anymore.
Well, that was I 100% agree, because that was, through my endeavor, it was, isolation was huge. Even looking back now, I seen it even in the engine house. I was avoiding my crews just because I didn't want to talk, because I knew what would come out. But man, I tell these guys all the time when I'm doing conferences and talks and stuff, is like, hey, like, I can sit here and talk all day. My clinicians can tell you everything you need to know, but I think more work gets done at the kitchen table at a firehouse than anywhere else in this country. Like, we will literally break down the world's problems and then jump into our own all around the dinner table, just having a conversation. And it's amazing how deep those conversations will get. But like, my crew probably knows more about me than my wife does.
I was going to say, I was like, do you guys, like, have you seen an uptick in the conversations being had around mental health at the firehouse now that you've got this going? And is that something that's,
Yeah, especially at my district. I mean, we've had a huge cultural change. It was always kind of on the talks, and it was something that wasn't really put down within our district, but it was definitely something now you can see. It's a forefront thought for people. It's not an afterthought. And that's something obviously I push hard, is that proactivity, because we've always been reactionary, knee jerk reactions when something comes up. Like, oh, now we got to deal with it. How do we deal with it?
It's the nature of your job.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
no two calls are going to be the same?
Yeah. So it was one of those things, and I would say around this region at least, and all over the country with some of the contacts I have around the country, it's definitely becoming more prominent to have the mental health talks and people being more open in the firehouses about having issues.
That's awesome.
Well, and I'm going to ask you a question here. It might be one you might not want to answer, but was there a particular instance or call that you went on that kind of led you to your crisis?
So yeah, it's a broad question. I think it's because I was officially diagnosed with PTSD when I was out in Maryland. And I fought with that doctor for probably a half hour about, no, I can't have PTSD. I'm not in the military. I've never been shot at. I've never been blown. This was all at home stuff, on the, might be on the streets in the job, but also some at home stuff. And they're like, no, these traumatic incidents you're going to daily throughout your career are the ones that are they're adding up. And when it comes to looking at the traumatic experiences for first responders, there might be that one call that really sets somebody off, but
see something awful.
Yeah. And you just can't get past it. I think for myself though, it was, I have my calls throughout, 14 years now of that. I can look back and I can vividly image the entire thing. If I could draw the scenes for you. If I could tell you what the smells were, I could, those things that'll never leave. But there wasn't one particular call that was like, oh my God, I can't get over this. It was just
crazy accident.
Yeah, it was just boom, 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 add up. And then you throw real life on top of it outside the firehouse. Everybody knows going home to kids and a wife and dealing with finances and bills and whatever, the stress is there. And then, you go back to work and you're there an hour and you get called for, a vehicle accident or a vehicle fire or a house fire. And guess what? All that stress is coming with you.
Yeah.
You're currently getting your master's in psychology.
Yes.
That's awesome. How far along are you on that?
So I literally just started the master's program last week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's great. So, did you get your minor and all that in psychology or?
So my first degree was in emergency medicine.
Okay.
And it was just, we went to school to be an EMT paramedic, then fire. And they're like, oh, you take a couple more classes, you can have an associate's degree in emergency medicine. I was like, cool, got that. That was about 12, 13 years ago I did that.
Okay.
And then just after all of this and, it became a passion and, I was reading books and, self-teaching myself about the psychology stuff. And then I started doing a lot of seminars and conferences and going out and doing education. And I'm like, I need, I have the experience, but I don't have the academic education to back it up.
Gotcha.
That piece of paper that says, hey, somebody taught you how to do this. Yeah. So I was like, it was, I guess it was last January. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and get my bachelor's in psychology. So I finished my bachelor's. I went from an associate's to my bachelor's in 14 months.
Nice.
Okay.
Finished, what was it like with my transfer credits? I think I finished 68 credit hours in 14 months.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
And then, and then I was like, well, I'm this far. I might as well keep going, go to the master's degree and see where that leads me. And, I have all ambitions to go get my PhD after I'm done with my master's. I just don't know what the timeline will be on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about therapy, my therapist is like, hey, slow down. You got enough on your plate, because she's awesome and she works with the charity and helps us out with stuff, and she knows how busy I am. That's the worst part when we do a business talk and I give her my list of all these things I got to get done in the next week, and she's like, I can't be your therapist right now. I got to tell you, I got to be support, but I can't tell you to stop working so hard.
Right.
But no, honestly, when I went back to school as an adult, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
When I was in school, I hated it. But then learning something, finding that passion and going to school for it, you're like, oh, this is nice. I can do this all day long. And then just kind of mix in the other life stuff at the same time.
I have a psychology degree as well. And that's the only reason I probably graduated when I did with college, just because I have a psychology degree, but I've never really had to use it, to be honest with you, other than, just the stuff I've learned through that dealing with people. But I have a psychology degree as well, and I'm just I never really knew what to do with it. Now that I I have it. But that was the whole reason that I got it, is because it was what I was interested in. And I was like, I can actually pay attention to this, and I enjoy learning about this kind of stuff versus, going to get, something in whatever. I mean, sure, I ended up going into business, like actually like in real life, but sure, could I have done that? Would it have helped me a little bit more than it has now? Like, I don't really know, but I just wanted to learn about psychology. So that's why I got my degree in psychology.
Yeah. And it's the psychology itself, in my opinion, it's just across the world.
Sure.
In all aspects of life, you can utilize something out of it. And that was kind of the way I looked at it. I can tell you when I get my master's, if that's where I stop, like when it comes to the fire service or EMS, like it does nothing for when it comes to advancing my career.
Right. Yeah.
It helps, we run EMS calls. We get, somebody that's having some mental health crises. It gives me a little bit of a better knowledge of what to do in those situations. But overall, for my career choice, this was strictly just a passion project, and wanted to get the education and just loved it. So I finished it and want to keep going with it. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Just actively studying psychology and actively living the realities of what it is you're studying. How's understanding the science of all that shifted your view on your own mental health?
It has drastically changed my views. Not only my own experience, but the education itself, and just going out and talking to other people is like, wow, like we are so misguided. Like not just the first responders, but society as a whole. We're so misguided when it comes to mental health and how prevalent and how much it's just ravaging the society. But now I look at it and I'm like, my wife always tells me we'll have conversations. She'll go on about something. I'll be like, all right, well, here's what you need to do. Like, here's this, I learned how you need to do this step and this step and, this technique. And she's like, I don't need you to therapy me right now. Yeah. So it's definitely like, now I see it more when I'm talking to people or interacting with people. You can see, oh, that's a subtle sign. I had a lieutenant a while back that, I worked with, loved him to death. And we were talking one day. I was like, dude, do you know you have ADHD? He's like, no, I've never been diagnosed with ADHD. I was like, oh, you don't need to be diagnosed. Like you have it, like without a doubt.
For sure.
Yeah. And I've been working with him for years. And now those things are starting to click.
Little things.
Yeah. And it's neat just watching and learning, the psychology. Something else I'm doing with psychology, I'm kind of self-teaching myself that neurobiology and neuroscience of it is like how the brain actually interacts with the mental health conditions. And it's amazing when you start learning about how much the brain affects the rest of your body and how just your emotions can just destroy your brain. And then your brain's destroying your body.
Right. What is it? You are what you think, or whatever it is. Like, whatever you put your mind to, you can accomplish it. I mean, that's the thing, is your thoughts. Did you do like the daily meditations and visualizations and things like that?
Yeah. No, I remember when I was never a meditator, was never a reader, didn't do any of that journaling. I was like, when I went to Maryland, even they were like, oh yeah, try writing down your feelings. I'm like, no, that's a terrible idea. Like that sounds stupid. By the time I left Maryland, I wrote a 45-page paper about my life with every detail from the earliest memory to the end. And I was like reading and writing it and then going back and reading it. I'm like, oh my God, like it just makes you realize all these other things. And then like the meditation, I remember the first time she told one of my therapists, we were doing a meditation session. She's like, all right, I just need you to sit there for a half hour. No, I don't think I've sat still for 30 minutes in my entire life. And now I'm like every morning or in the evening times or whatever it is, I'm like, all right, 10 minutes to just silence, just relax.
Just calm the brain.
Yeah.
So when you do it at night?
It depends. So meditation for me is a lot of just, I might do it in the car. It's not that when people think of meditation, they're thinking, sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed. Like, no, for me, like I'll throw on a guided meditation while I'm driving and just listen to them tell me how to breathe and things like that. So, rough day doing meetings after meetings or something, or, I just got off duty, I'm heading home and I know I'm getting ready to walk into a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old screaming and crying. My wife's had them for 48 hours and she's going to walk in and say, it's your turn, So it's like, even that 30-minute drive home, listen to something calming and walking me through, just bringing everything back to a level point. Morning times, afternoons, it doesn't matter. I just throw it in where I need it. My biggest one probably for meditation is, I do cold baths every night. Love it. But that's like 12 minutes every night.
12 minutes?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, we do them at work too. And people give me crap all the time. They're like, you're only supposed to do like 12 minutes a week. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I do 12 minutes a night. More's better, right?
Yeah, for sure.
No, for me, and I've joked about it. I was like, I think it's just habitual for me now. Like, cause I set up a whole ice bath station in my basement. I got I just bought a 2-person one so I can lay down in it and get comfy. just sit in silence
Get
or
comfy.
Yeah. 55 degrees and you're getting comfy in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put it in the basement. It's got its own water line run to it and everything. So it's real nice and it's off to the corner. There's no noise. Kids go to bed. I just go down there and I lay there for 12 minutes and just silence, practice my breathing techniques or whatever I want to do. And it's just nothing. It's like they're at 12 minutes. Nothing in the world matters except what's going on right now.
Do you do what is it? Is it Will Hof? Is that his name?
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof. Do you do any of his breathing techniques or any of the stuff that he preaches?
No, I've not seen his stuff.
No.
I would be very interested because breathing techniques are godsend. Like people don't realize how much your breathing affects your overall physical and mental being throughout the day.
He's a very interesting follow on social media, but he's got this huge following. I mean, he talks about, he's constantly pushing the limits of what his body can handle temperature wise and cold.
Yeah.
Like he's going out in the dead of winter in underwear and nothing else on and just laying in the snow.
Yeah.
And just laying there. And he talks about and his biggest thing is like being able to breathe through these things and being able to control your breath controls everything else. And so I think if you haven't looked into him, check him out. He's a really good follower. He knows a lot and he's been doing it for decades.
Yeah.
So
that's been huge because like some of the techniques Lindsay from CrossFit, CrossFit Achieve, she's owns the empowerment spot up in Ladue, and she's got some breathing techniques in her presentations and stuff. And it was funny because she did one time, and I was like, she sells it. It's like, oh, the Navy SEALs do this and all this, and it helps keep you calm throughout. And I started thinking about the box breathing. Yeah,
that's what I do. Yeah.
And so I kind of made my own variations because I can't leave anything alone. I got to change it and make it better or worse or whatever. But and then I started doing all that, and then I started really thinking about it. Like, oh, the Navy SEALs do this to keep calm, and like I remember the academy for the fire service, and they teach you how to do breathing to make your air last longer if you're trapped or whatever in a fire. You only got so many minutes of air.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this is the same thing they've been teaching me for 14 years. I never put that aspect to real life. Really? And now it's like, now I'm sitting here finding new ways to breathe. I thought it was just one way. You just breathe in, you breathe out. That's it. Yeah.
No, there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. The box breathing, like anytime I feel like really stressed, I'll just
same.
I just have to like give myself like 10 to 15 like box breaths, and it like completely changes my mood. That's something it was like, I've talked to my wife about doing. She's not real into any of that kind of stuff. And, I'm like, hey, calm down.
Most people think it's crazy until they do it. And then once you do it, it's like, because especially after a workout, or if like I'm really gassed after a workout, that's when I'll sit there and I'll do the box breathing to help bring my heart rate back down and get my breathing back in sync. And for those that don't know, box breathing, it's breathing in for a set period of time, holding it for a set period of time. So like say 5 seconds, breathe in for 5 seconds. Hold it for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then breathe back in. And that's kind of the tempo. I usually do the 5 seconds. That's usually what I go at. And it's amazing how quickly it can reset the heart rate and get you back in track on breathing and just kind of calm you down.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is just, that's what, even like I still suffer with some anxiety and stuff. And it's like, even when I can start feeling that creeping up, it's like focusing on the breathing. Even if it's not a technique, I've learned that if I just think about breathing, it takes my mind off of everything else that was bothering me because I'm so focused on my breathing. So that anxiety starts to come down, whether I'm doing appropriate techniques or not. Right. It's still something to take your mind into the present.
Right.
You're focusing on the here and now and how you're feeling. A big one I do, especially in the ice bath, because believe me, it helps with doing 12 minutes in the ice bath.
I don't know how you do 12 minutes, man. It's crazy.
I love it.
I struggle to get to 3.
I always tell people like you can't do an ice bath and come out in a bad mood. Like it's impossible.
Yeah.
So it's like if the longer you're in there, I guess the better mood you're in, right? Yeah, that's the way I look at it. But no, I do the psychological sigh or whatever they call it. I think that's the proper terminology where you just breathe in really fast and usually the way you're supposed to do is like breathe in real fast and then take one last deep breath and then 8 seconds out. And what it actually does is manipulates your HRV for your heart rate.
Okay.
Really?
And if the studies out there say if you do it for, 20 or 30 times a night, you'll actually train your heart, your heart to have that heart rate variability within the appropriate ranges. So even if you're changing your diets and changing your physical activity throughout the day, you have trained your heart rate variability throughout the night. So it's like it stays in those ranges that you want it in.
Right.
Do you wear any? So we each got the Whoop, which measures all that. Do you have any? Does your watch?
Yeah,
track
so
that?
Galaxy, it started doing, I guess the new one started doing like the heart rate variability and, your sleep during night and what, how your breathing is during the night and stuff. I don't know how accurate it is because it's not like one of their biggest, it's their new model with all those things on it. I'm like, well, it's at least enough to gauge if it's changing.
Something. It's something.
And it's funny because like I'll look at it and like it gives me my sleep score. And like it's amazing. Like if I'm at work, my sleep score is, obviously terrible, even if you sleep all night. But, it's funny watching, like I'll look at it and be like, in the morning, like, oh, your sleep score was, 75. And I'm like, I can feel that.
Yeah.
Like I definitely feel like crap today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I never paid attention to my sleep or heart rate variability, any of that kind of stuff.
Same.
But I've been wearing this thing for 4 or 5 months now, and it's just something I'm like, I'll feel it if I look at my recovery or whatever it is, and I'm like, oh man, I'm at 20%. I slept like shit. Worked out way too hard yesterday. I can definitely feel it.
Yeah,
and I didn't even know what heart rate variability was until I like
no, yeah.
And apparently that's like one of the main indicators for like your recovery is your HRV.
Higher the better.
Yeah. And so from my understanding, HRV is just like the variance in between your heartbeats. Right? Yeah.
So as your heart rate speeds up and slows, that's why breathing affects your heart rate variability so much, is that like when you take a deep breath in, your heart rate goes up because you're compressing your lungs are compressing your heart a little bit. So your heart rate goes up. As you breathe out, everything slows down because the compression leaves. So like training those slow or those long, deep breaths out, slow that heart rate down, and then also just help, those through that 10-second breathing, you're speeding it up, slowing it down, speeding it up, and slowing it down. So, and I'm the same way. Like I was like heart rate variability. I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't, my oxygen. Yeah. When it started telling me my oxygen, I realized, well, I have CPAP because I have sleep apnea, and it's like, if I don't wear it, it's like, oh, your heart rate variability was crap, but you also didn't breathe half the night. So that's probably why.
Gasping for air.
Yeah.
That's another thing I need to look into. Is that get a sleep study done? I snore.
Dude, I've been using mouth tape for like probably about a year now, and dude, it's been a game changer for me.
I've heard that. I've heard them out. I haven't tried it yet.
You sound like you look like a psycho, like taping your mouth shut before you go to bed. but like, dude, and I've seen it like on nights where I'll forget to put it on, or I'll fall asleep on the couch and go up in the middle of the night and not put it on. You can see like with my sleep, like it definitely affects it, especially with wearing this thing. And you kind of look like a psycho, taping your mouth shut, but it's helped me tremendously. I've heard it's helped people with sleep apnea before, so I don't know.
Yeah,
it forces you to breathe through your nose.
Yeah, which I've thought about it before. I got the CPAP and all that, and I was looking into that too. And it's like my problem is like I got to get sinus surgery in October because my sinuses are all screwed up.
Deviated septum.
Well, I have a deviated septum, and then my 2 lower sinus cavities are apparently clogged and don't open anymore, so they're just full of whatever.
Damn.
So
did you have your nose broken?
When I was a kid, but I never
could be from that.
I could be. I don't know. I've probably been dealing it with my entire life. And
what happens with your nose? It's the same thing that happens with like wrestlers in cauliflower ear.
Yeah,
like that'll happen in your nose, and you just can't see it as much because it's inside your nose. But you basically have like a lot of fighters get it where they basically have cauliflower ear inside their nose and they can't breathe.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Yeah.
So I mean, you could have something like it could be something like that. I don't know, but it's I find that people that have had their nose broken at any point, like it could be it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'd be curious.
Go in and chip that shit out.
I'd be curious what all they find in there. He's like, they already signed me up for it. And they're like, yeah, we'll just go in and knock you down and we'll just fix everything that's in there while we're in there. And I was like, cool. But that's why I never did the mouth breathing. So I'm like, on my luck, I'll tape my mouth shut and I won't be able to breathe out my nose and
that's a little
suffocate
different.
all night.
A little different. Yeah. If you can't breathe out of your nose, I wouldn't recommend the mouth tape.
Yeah. Maybe afterwards. I'm hoping it fixes because that was why I started getting this when I got the sleep study done, because my wife kept punching me all night because I started snoring out of the blue for no reason in the last couple of years. And she's like,
it was never like that before?
No,
like came out of nowhere?
Well, it's funny because, and again, I don't know if it's how it's all related. I could probably start breaking it down, but like after I went to Maryland for my inpatient stuff, that's when I started snoring. And I don't know if it's because like I just never slept for the 20 some odd years before I went and got help. Like, yeah, like I never experienced what deep sleep was until, post, Maryland. I don't know, but that's when it all started. Was after that I started snoring. So I would like to chalk it up to that I'm getting better sleep now.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Same. I mean, I snore and I get my deep sleep and REM sleep are through the roof.
His is insane. It's crazy. He'll sleep like 4 hours and like 3 of the 4 hours will be deep in REM sleep. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I could sleep for 8 hours and mine isn't that high.
Yeah.
Like, I never sleep for a full 8.
I don't even know what it was last night. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I know I passed out early last night. Let's see here. Sleep. So I slept for a total of 8 hours and 49 minutes last night.
Damn, dude.
Of which 5 hours were deep sleep or REM sleep.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like lucky to get like an hour and a half of each.
Yeah, I could
like,
get that if I stayed in bed for like 14 hours maybe.
Yeah,
but.
like I rarely get a full 8. I'm like usually somewhere between 6 and 7.
That's the first time I've gotten 8 hours of sleep since I've had this on. I don't even know how long it's really been since I've slept that long. I was out last night.
Yeah. I always get my longest nights of sleep when I end up falling asleep on the couch because I end up like falling asleep before I intend to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you get that extra few hours mixed in there because
like
you're on the
last
couch.
night I woke up at like 1 a.m. and walked upstairs. And but that's honestly, I do that off. But I've realized when I do that, I get like my sleep scores are better, you know, because I don't know what it is. But yeah, man, it's just sleep is so important. And I never really paid as much of attention to it just because like I didn't have like a metric to measure it until I, started wearing these things. So if you're someone out there interested in, your sleep or want to maximize your recovery and stuff, I think I'd recommend getting one. I've been a big fan of this Whoop because I like it because you can wear it. You can wear it like I wear it when I do jujitsu and wrestle and stuff because like they have underwear that you can put it in and like cause this thing like pops out of here and you can put it in an armband or underwear. Or they've got like sports bras for women where you can put it and it's like pretty cool and it's really not that expensive. I mean it's like $240 for the year. So it really comes down to like $20 a month.
Yeah.
Which is like,
which is the same with any other health though. It's like, oh, $20 a month. I don't want to pay for that for my health. But then you look back at it, look how much it's improved your sleep, just being conscious of what your sleep scores and stuff are.
Go chug a fucking 20-ounce sugar cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Spend $20 a week on that shit.
Yeah.
All day.
Like,
yeah. I mean, I'll spend $20 on snacks at the gas station like an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing though when you tell people like, hey, you're going to take care of your health, but it's going to cost you X amount of dollars a month. They're like, oh no, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but
but you
this
going
and
out
that.
to drink.
And as I'm drinking an energy drink, it's like I'm just as guilty as the next.
You gotta try one of these bad boys.
Yeah, we'll get you one when you leave.
Yeah.
They're really good.
It's a new tonic. It's a productivity drink. Think of like a dick pill for your brain.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I don't know if I need any more energy in my brain. That's my biggest problem. Yeah. So I see a functional med doc and he actually put me I'll give you that. Like you want to talk about spending money on your health and like really having to justify it as, that's, you don't have, it's not covered by insurance or anything, but my God, that man changed my life in like 6 months. Dr. Sheen. Sheen Vein and functional medicine.
And what is he? He's functional medicine.
Functional medicine. Yeah. He does all kinds. He does. He actually started my hormone replacement therapy too. He does a really neat system where it's actually oral testosterone versus injections.
Yeah, we do the injections.
Yeah, I've been on injections for years, and then started seeing him about 6 months ago, and he started changing a bunch of stuff. He's like, hey, stop taking your injections. I got an idea. He's like, let's see what your levels get down to. Of course, they dropped to like 200 and something because they're just terrible. And he put me on these orals. They're apparently the way he, tells you it's safer. It doesn't cycle through your liver. It's all these, had all these benefits, and then it's easy to regulate throughout the day. And it's been a game changer on my hormones.
Like a weekly pill, daily?
So you take it twice a day. That's the difficult part. It's twice a day.
Take it twice a day.
Yeah. So you take it twice a day, but the way he looks at it, like the way he explains it, like it raises your baseline to like your normal. And instead of like when you do injections, you have the big spike and then you start to slowly dwindle off until your next injection, where this is, your baseline's here, and it's just you're basically just cycling that baseline all the time. You're not having big spikes and drops, and
so you're taking it every 12 hours essentially, or whatever, or twice a day.
Twice a day. So you take it like I take it first thing out of the morning, and then usually after lunch sometime, because he wants you to have it because it's short acting, so it's out of your system within like I think 3 or 4 hours or something like that. It starts to have its decline. So, but your testosterone is supposed to drop at night for your sleep, because if it's too high, your sleep will be interrupted. So it actually drops you to that appropriate level throughout the night, to where you actually get better sleep. So it's been a game changer, but he's done all kinds of other things too, where it's like just inflammation and all these random supplements over the counter.
Okay.
Man, I could go through, I'm trying to think of all the ones I got. L-citrulline, which is just an over the counter amino and things like that. And he's like, oh yeah, try this, try that. And real strict plan that he wanted me to do. And it's like, I went from sleeping all night and drinking a pot of coffee in the morning and energy drink in the afternoon. It's like I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and that's probably my 3rd energy drink in like 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I only drank it because I knew I was coming in here and I needed some extra energy.
Yeah, we'll be ready to go. I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an energy drink addict, bro.
Yeah, we burn through these things. You know, they don't call it an energy drink; they call it a productivity drink. But yeah, we buy cases of these every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're constantly burning through these things.
I
But
mean, they're not a ton of caffeine in them. There's only 120 milligrams per one, so it's really not like, you know.
But it's
like
got L-theanine in there, so like
Yep.
to help.
400 milligrams of L-theanine.
Yeah.
Which is a shitload.
Yeah, that was he's like some of those things he put me on, and it's literally just basic stuff over the counter, other than like the big one that he, like, I suggested it, he went on, and I would suggest it for anyone with ADHD. Like, I won't take Adderall or any of those, because it's like, well, obviously I have an addictive personality. Yeah, essentially. I was on it for a while and I loved it, but it was not meant for me. But he switched me over to the methylene blue. I don't know if you've done any research into that.
I've heard a lot about it, and I keep talking about, like, I need to buy some and try it. But
yeah, man, game changer
Really?
for having like what I consider some pretty severe ADHD when it comes to like the hyperactivity side. Like, my brain's always firing on a million cylinders. I got 4,000 thoughts at any given point in time. Like, I remember the first day I did it, I just put the dropper in my coffee in the morning, drank my coffee. And I remember sitting on the couch, like, I didn't have anything to do that day, and I was sitting on the couch and I'm like, it's quiet. What is this? Where are all the thoughts? Like, I haven't had this in my entire life. Not like just being able to focus in on one thought.
And you can get that over the counter?
Yeah, like, I literally, now there's like the
chews, right?
I mean, it's one of those things that became a marketing thing for people, and they're like, oh, everybody's got a different version of it. I literally he told me look for one that's, pharmaceutical grade and 99% proof or whatever it was, and I literally buy it on Amazon.
Okay.
So,
and it's you buy like the liquid?
Yeah, I do the liquid, and I just do a dropper full in my coffee in the morning.
Okay.
And I like, again, one of the things I changed, like, I don't drink my coffee for the first 90 minutes I'm awake. Just to help with the brain, the receptors in your brain, not kick-starting too fast. But yeah, it's just do that with my cup of coffee. I do 12 drops. I think the dose is like 20, but I still take some psychiatric meds for, obvious reasons. So, but they don't mix well. So I just cut the dose in half. We played with it a little bit and found a really good dose that works well for the ADHD without affecting the serotonin levels at all. So
nice.
There you go.
Does it taste? Have a taste to it?
Not that I mean, if you mix it with coffee, I don't think you can really mix much with coffee and give it a taste. So,
right. That's true.
And I like black coffee, so
yeah, me too.
Same.
The bolder, the darker, the better. But
yeah,
so
yeah, it probably masks it pretty good.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that just do it, just straight drop it into their mouth, and I'm like, my teeth would turn blue, and
I know that's what I'll see people like on Instagram or something like post a picture of their mouth's like blue for, it's got to be for like hours.
Yeah,
you just ate like a blue slushy or something.
Well, I'll tell you, I've dropped a cup on my driveway before in my coffee, and it stained my driveway. So I don't know if you'd really want to just put it straight in your mouth. I mean, apparently your body digests it really well, but like, I'm not going to want to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go straight dropper to the mouth. My teeth would be blue for the rest of my life.
Because I've heard that's what they originally were using to dye blue jeans or something.
Yeah, so it is. It's just a fabric dye, and they found medical uses for it, so it became like a medical. But that's how everything is.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're going to try for this. Oh, it doesn't work for that. Let's do it with this, and that's everything in the medical field started as something completely different, and then they're like, oh, it'll work for this. But
it's like the guy who made LSD apparently did it so he was trying to communicate with dolphins.
Yeah,
and then it turned into being like a fucking psychedelic.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the greatest inventions just come from just a random thought, and I'm going to try and do this for that, and look what I found.
Right.
I mean, look at Viagra. That was a blood pressure medicine.
Right.
Now look,
look at it. Yeah. It's got a
really good blood pressure down below.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah,
lots of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy how things like that'll just happen where, it wasn't the intended use, but it ends up being something completely different.
Well, you're talking about psychedelics, we've talked about this a lot on the show, but look what's come from shrooms.
Yeah. Mushrooms. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a whole another can of worms that lots of people like to open, and it's not a huge talked about thing, which it is, but not on the large scale of the psychedelics and the magic mushrooms and the ibogaine and things like that. And man, have you experimented with any of that stuff? I have not. The only thing I did that was kind of an experiment for myself was the ketamine drips to try that. It was a very unique experience.
Yeah.
Did you try that in Maryland, or was that
No. So Maryland, I guess that was another trial one I tried. So there's something, and I highly suggest anyone with any sort of PTSD for this is the SBG shot. It's a stellate ganglion block. It sounds brutal, but they go in through the front of your neck and they shoot your spinal cord where your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system are. They shoot it with lidocaine. And it basically just resets your fight or flight. So
Really?
oh man, game changer. But it was amazing for when I did it. It was like my anxiety levels were through the roof. Like I would walk around. That's how I tell people how quick it affects your, just your physical health too, is like when I went and did the shot, like they do your vitals obviously before they do it. My blood pressure was like 180 over 100. That was normal.
That was normal.
And I was 100, 160 pounds and, I wasn't in the best health whatsoever, but 180 over 100 shouldn't have been where I was sitting. And resting heart rate was over 100. They did this shot, gave me like 2 minutes, sat me up, did it again. My blood pressure was like 110 over 60. And my heart rate was in the 50s.
No shit.
Yeah.
That quick?
Yeah. Within minutes.
Wow.
And then just from that point on, like it was like the anxiety was just gone.
Was that just like a one-time thing?
So it's completely trial based. Like it's not something that's covered by insurance. They actually started the trials within the military, and then realized first responders could really benefit from it too. So they started moving trials into the first responder world. And, it's a little pricey, but man, it's worth it. And it was like, they say like there's an 80% chance you'll never have to go get it again. But there is a chance.
For the most people, for 80% of people, it's a one-time thing.
Yeah. Which, it's for me, if I had to go every 2 years and do it, I'd pay for it. Like it was 100% worth it. Like, and the best way somebody described it out in Maryland, the director out there described the best way is like when you have, real bad PTSD or any sort of anxiety, like just imagine your body's a car and you're stuck in fifth gear doing 180 miles an hour. You can't ever slow down. You're just stuck there. This just takes you back to first gear, lets you slow down, lets you get used, get back to real life. And you can actually, that was kind of where it changed the game for me, was like being out there. It was like 2 weeks in, I did this and no more anxiety. I could go focus on my treatments. Like I could go focus on my counseling and my groups and things like that. Whereas before, like I'm sitting there going, I can't be here. I gotta go. I can't do this. Like it. And then you just like, you can relax and actually focus on what's going on.
Never heard of that. What's it called again?
Stellate ganglion block.
Ganglion. Wow. SGB is what people call it.
SBG shot.
SBG.
I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that one was a big one. Ketamine was a interesting road.
What was that like?
It's different. Like it feels like you're super drunk without like any of the negative side effects. And there's a little bit of hallucination in there too. Like the biggest hallucination I had was like I was in this, because they put you in the one I did, they sit you in a room, it's dark, there's like little lamps and like there's just music, you play music things, and it's pretty much just you and your thoughts. And then they start the dose, and about 10 minutes in, you're like sitting there and like
intravenous?
Yeah. Okay. And then like you're just sitting there, and the room starts to kind of expand, and like all of a sudden you're sitting in a warehouse instead of a little big room. But man, it was a neat experience. I think the biggest thing I got out of it was, again, that relaxation state where like I could focus on something that was an issue and not have that immediate physiological response to it. Like I was able to like work through some of the thoughts. Now, say I did have the second one, I had a little bit of an incident during it where it threw me into a tizzy and like went back into, no K-hole. That's a whole different ballgame. But no, I had like I had my phone on me and got a phone call, and it threw me back into like a memory from before. And it was like, I went into a full-fledged panic, and then you're like pretty much drunk. So I'm like trying to run out of the room, falling all over the place. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. But other than that, it was a great experience. But I actually just talked to a medical doctor that we work with here and there, and she was actually saying that they're not finding it's beneficial for PTSD, that our brains are basically so traumatized that it actually has no neuroplasticity factors to it when it comes to those neural pathways.
Ketamine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, I tried it. I'm a guinea. I like trying things like, I tried mental health before everybody else had to. Yeah. But no, that's like I try to see these different treatments out there, and I'm like, oh, let's go give it a shot. That way, because if I'm going to tell somebody to go do something, I'm going to tell you what it's like before I tell you to do it.
Yeah, that's like the last guy we had on here. He was a raider, Army Raider,
or Marine Raider.
Marine Raider, yeah. So very high in the special forces, and he was just talking about the same thing. He's going to go on. He's going to do an ayahuasca. Yeah. And so, he's like, well, I'm not going to speak to it because I just know that I've got friends that have done it that have had major success with it. Yeah.
So, I've heard a lot of really good things from it. And again, this is just my opinions, of course, but like until they can market it and monetize it, it won't come to the United States. But Man, I've heard people, especially military, that comes back with real bad PTSD. They go down there and they're basically cured.
Yeah, my cousin has a retreat down in Costa Rica that
Yeah.
she does all that stuff at.
Yeah, I've heard Costa Rica is the place to go.
Yeah.
Costa
I actually know
Rica,
somebody that went down to the Costa
Peru,
Rica.
I've heard as well.
Yeah, somebody went to Costa Rica. I don't know where they went in Costa Rica, but did it, and they said it was an amazing experience. So
Yeah, we've had my buddy Nick on. He's a big advocate. He's, it's kind of his whole thing, but it kind of changed his life. He had he was dealing with a lot of mental health problems, and then he ended up going to do that, and it really kind of put his life in a completely different spot.
yeah, I'd be super interested. I don't think like I'm quite there anymore to where I'd be like, oh,
Yeah,
that's what I need. But like during my crisis, 100% would have been like, oh yeah, that would have been, honestly, I'd probably agree to that quicker than I would agree to go to an inpatient facility.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'll go somewhere in a different country and let them inject me full of drugs.
Yeah,
And
I'll go to sit in the woods and drink this nasty potion.
yeah.
Or whatever it is.
See Jesus.
Yeah, that's fine. That sounds way better than going to get locked up in a building for 30 days,
Yeah.
which not what Maryland, I will give Maryland the credit. It is like, we called it basically Boy Scouts for the crazies. Because it was like at an old campground, like they had, you had your own, bunk houses and stuff. You stayed with people, and there's, we had bonfires every night, and it was on like 11 acres. So you got to go roam the property and stuff. When they're telling me, oh, you're going to go to this inpatient facility, I'm thinking straight jacket and like on a floor in a hospital something for a month. Yeah. No, that's not what it is. So it made it real nice.
Yeah, it's just like you guys went Boy Scout camp. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. And it's just we were all real crazy when we got there. Most of us were better when we left, so that's always a good thing.
Now, how many people go to a retreat like that? Or go to a facility like that?
So there's the bed. I think they have 64 beds out there. And pretty much when I was there, and from what I can keep up with, it's full all the time. And there's a waiting list all the time. And basically their waiting list is just, you get triaged on the phone with their triage staff. And like, if you're like severe crisis, like they'll get you in right away. And if you're, something they think can wait a week or two, they'll wait till the next bed opens. But it's definitely, it's full 24/7. I don't think they ever have an empty bed.
Wow.
Which is something that,
speaks volumes to what they're doing.
Yeah, no, they're doing an amazing job.
You're there for 30 days?
33 days total is what I ended up being out there. Super neat experience. I would actually, like, if I had 33 days to just give up, I'd go back just for the peace of mind. And like, I will tell you, like, one of the greatest things that came out of it too, which I broke the habit as soon as I came back, was like, you can't have your phone except for an hour every couple of days. Man, that was great. Not worrying about what was going on my phone, or not caring what social media had to say, or who, I'd call my wife and talk to my kid, and that was about the most I used my phone for. Like, you'd get it for an hour and we'd talk for like a half hour and be like, I'm done here. You can have it back now. Like, I don't need it anymore. Like, and now it's like I got two of them I carry around with me now.
Right. Yeah, the phones, man. It's it's just, they kind of run our lives. I mean, especially in our industries, it's constant. It's it's something that's always going. And like, I feel like the only times I can like legitimately relax are like after like 9 p.m. just because that's kind of when I have my phone set to like do not disturb. It's automatically going to shut to 9 a.m. And I've like made this rule. I'm not responding to things after 9 p.m. unless it's like a friend or an absolute emergency or something. Like, but like that's been an adjustment for me. And like, even just having those extra couple hours, because there's times years ago where I'd be responding. No matter when they would text me or call me, I'm answering them, responding. But I think putting some limits and some limitations on it for myself has been a game changer for me. But still, it's a lot of time, a lot of hours in the day where we're kind of connected to people. Yeah,
that's mine. It's the same way. If one's not ringing, the other one is, and then I've got emails and texts coming in on both phones for same networks, and it's like, sometimes I just want to throw them out the window and be like, I'm done for today. Like, I'm done.
I know. It's like sometimes I just want to like go put my phone in a drawer and not look at it. And it's like, but then I'm like afraid what I'm going to come back to and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even because, normally we're recording on Wednesdays and we're doing 2 on Wednesdays. It's nice having those 2.5-hour sessions where you're just shutting down. But then like, as soon as we get done recording, you pull that up and it's like, oh, I've got 100 emails.
Yeah. I'm behind for 10 days somehow. And I've only been off the phone for an hour.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like, but now we're switching to doing, we're splitting it up. For the first 1.5 years we were doing this, we were doing, every Wednesday. So we'd basically block off like 3-4 hours where we'd be doing these podcasts. And now we're like, all right, let's break it up a little bit, just because like our Wednesday would get.
Well, we would go back to back. So we would go from 11 to 12:30 and then 1 to 2:30. So really we had a very short break in there. And then we switched it up to 10 to 11:30, took a break, 1 to 2:30. Now we're switching up days.
I just think
Yeah.
the days, it's just, it's just the whole, you basically kind of lose the Wednesday every week is
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
was for us.
Yeah.
And now I'm
With
happy
your
that we're
training.
kinda, and now, well, like I got some jiu-jitsu competitions coming up and I want to be able to train on when, be able to get more training in. So we're breaking it up. But yeah, I think it'll be good for us just having to, spread it out a little bit more, even though I enjoy doing these and I look forward to them. It's just like, but then they're, I get out of here and I'm like, I got to go pick up the kids and I have a million text messages and emails and phone calls to respond to. And then I end up, being on the phone all Wednesday night when I should be hanging out with my family.
Yep.
And I just don't want to do that because we really only get a couple hours with our kids every day.
Yeah, I get guilty of that too. And my wife points it out and I notice it too, is like, I'll start working when I'm at home and it's like, all right, I got to turn this off. Like you only get so many, like you said, you only get so many hours in a day with your kids, and whether they're driving you nuts or you want to shut the door and go disappear, like you still only get that time with them for that short period of time. And I try to make it to where like 4 or 5 o'clock, like I'm not good at it. I'm still learning.
Yep. I know.
But that 4 or 5 o'clock, I try to turn it off, at least turn work off. And then like, again, that's the phone at night, like before sleep. Like I usually play my game. I got a game I've been playing for like 2 years. I'm like ranked in the world because I've been playing it so long.
What game?
It's called Top Heroes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was literally, I look back, it gave me my memories from when I started playing the other day, and it was like, oh, you started on Christmas Eve. Well, I worked last Christmas Eve, so I was probably just looking for a game to play while we were sitting at the firehouse, and I've been playing it for almost 2 years now. But I usually play that game, do all my daily things, because the reset time for like your days is at 9 p.m. So at 9 p.m. I play my game, and then I put it down at like 9:30, and then I'll read until I pass out. That's been a game changer on my sleep too. It's just keeping away from, we'll just keeping that phone out of my eyes before I go to bed. Like, cause I get and I do a whole talk on social media in one of my classes I do about how, you stimulate your brain off that, not just the blue lights and things like that, but the information you're taking in. Like I won't touch my phone for like the first half hour I get out of bed, because it's the first half hour, in my opinion, for your mental health is like setting the pace for the day. Like that's where you set your mood. And like how many people you pull up social media, you get on Facebook or something and you read up something and you're like, oh, this is stupid. And you start reading the comments and all of a sudden you're yelling at your phone because people are being stupid or saying dumb stuff and you don't agree with an article or something.
And that also goes back to like what it is that you're following on social media.
Yeah.
Because like, most of the stuff I have I went through and scrubbed mine clean of a lot of shit. And now pretty much everybody I follow is some sort of like mental health, relationships, working out, like all like influencers like that. So like I can see changes from what I was following to what I am now and how that's changed my mental outlook. But even still, like I try and stay off of it as long as I can. But I know it's usually pretty quick before my phone starts blowing up with emails and text messages. Yeah,
that's the hard part. Like I usually pop it open and see what like the notifications are. Like, is it text messages and emails, or is it all social media notifications? Like social media can wait. Text messages and emails, I at least got to see if it's important or not. But yeah, man, I've spent so many mornings where I get up and I get sucked into my phone. I waste a half hour of my morning because I'm sitting there scrolling or replying to stuff, and then I'm mad because I'm working all morning and I haven't even got my coffee yet. Yeah. And I'm not a morning person by any means. So so if I don't set my pace early, it gets bad. Yep.
I'm very similar. I'm guilty of that for sure. Looking at my phone first thing in the morning, I need to stop doing that. I've been saying I'm
problem is it's my alarm.
Yeah.
I just need to give an alarm clock and
I
put
need
my
to
phone
get
away.
Well, that was something I saw. It was actually Chris Williamson was saying it was a complete game changer for him, was like sleeping with his phone in a different room.
Yeah.
Which is like, man, like that's something I certainly don't do.
No.
My phone is right there. Like it's what wakes me up. It's like, and then you play all these games. It's like, what if I get a call in the middle of the night? But like, how often do I actually? Does that actually happen?
And then you get the what if, the one time you take it out of your room.
Yeah,
what if the one time I do this, I miss a call?
Me at 2 a.m, my dad, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's a worry, but how much better would it improve my life? I don't know. But he said it was like an automatic, like 10% increase of quality of life is what he said, which I'm like, I don't know about that. But that it seems a little dramatic, but I think I'd be worth giving it a shot. I don't know.
Yeah, mine's gonna keeping my alarm clock. So, but speaking of family, what is that like being a firefighter and then having your wife and kids at home? How's that?
It's got its times. It's difficult. So
you do 48 hours.
Yeah, we do 48 hours on, and then we got 4 days off. Okay. But like for me, it's like I do 48 hours on, then I run the charity, I work a second job. Like, so I might be gone 60, 70 hours a week, if not more. But I think the saving grace we have nowadays, and just going back to the phones, is like the FaceTime. Like I can FaceTime my girls and talk to them, and at least they, feel like I'm not completely absent.
Right.
My oldest will sit there on the phone. She won't even talk to me. She'll go play or, watch TV or something while she's on the phone, and I'm just staring at her face doing whatever she's doing, but she like feels like I'm there.
Yeah.
So it makes, it's that comfortability of being able to know that I'm still around and that I can talk to her. Plus, as she calls me, it's like, where's the fire truck? And I got to show her the fire truck.
Yeah.
So it's neat. And I think that makes it, I know on my wife's end, and it's something I was guilty of for years until recently. And I still fall victim to it, is like, she's got them for 48 hours that I'm just gone. And like, I always give her crap because they always say, well, firefighters just go to work and hang out with your friends and take naps and maybe make good dinner. But like, I still have to work for 48 hours sometimes. But, she's got the kids and dealing with life and dealing with everything else for that 48 hours. And I got to come home and be like, oh, no, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this. So, but, it's finding that time to be able to transition, back into the home life of like, okay, I'm still a dad, even if I'm tired and grumpy. Like, and that's sometimes I'm just like, hey, I need 10 minutes. Like, let me go change my clothes. Let me, do something to wind down, and then then I'll play dad for the rest of the day, and you can take a break. But it does get difficult. You miss things like holidays and birthdays and things like that. But the good thing is, like, fire is a pretty big family. Like, if you've got something, like I got somebody working for me on Halloween for just a few hours, so I go take girls trick or treating. Like, cool. Just offered to, I asked, and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. They don't have kids. They're not worried about being home for Halloween to hand out candy. So like, right. Oh yeah, go be with your kids for a few hours. Just come back when you're done. So it's like we help each other out.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. Like when I was with Rock Community, I was still young, didn't have kids. And like I worked Christmas every year for all the guys that had kids. Like you go be with your kids. Like I'll do Christmas in January. I don't care. Right. Like it makes no difference to me. Right. Now that I got kids, I'm like it's hoping different. Those guys that don't have kids are banking on the same mentality. So, but yeah, no, it does make it difficult for you to be able to kind of stay in the picture for those 48 hours. And my girls are very much daddy's girls. Like my wife gives me crap all the time.
How old are they?
3 and 2.
Okay.
So
how far apart?
13 and a half months.
I've got 15 months. It's and 2 boys, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, once they get older,
we're in the thick of it right now, brother.
Yeah. Once you get them both out of diapers and both walking and all of that stuff, because they're best friends now.
Yeah, and that's what everybody says. And it's funny, we were just talking about this the other day at work because we have a guy that's getting ready to have his first kid, and I was like, oh, you should have 2 right next to each other. It's great.
Oh yeah,
enjoy every minute of it. Like especially those first 3 years, because that's what I've experienced. You'll love it, I promise.
Yeah, every minute of it.
Every second of it.
Oh yeah, but it is nice because like there's times where like the older one will be getting out of a phase, and then the younger one will start moving into that phase, and it's like, well, I didn't get a break from it, but at least I know what to do.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Hopefully I can do the same things.
Yeah,
she's gonna respond
to. They're getting out of diapers and all that at the same time. It's just like you're like, all right, I'm done. Like I don't have a massive break, or like you get used to having one out of them, and then I got another one now. Yeah. Now I'm coming right back through it. Like, I mean, I don't know any different because they're 15 months apart. But I mean, yes. When they were little, it was tougher, but now that they're, 6 and 7, pretty much, like, it's great.
Yeah, we can see now, even at 2 and 3, having personalities and stuff. They're definitely they'll have their times where they get at each other, but most of the time, like they're holding hands and running around the house or playing with each other. They occupy each other, and it's pretty neat to watch. But again, there's times where like they're both just like they're toddlers, so it's like you got 2 full-fledged toddlers. Well, our oldest is 3. The neighbor calls her a 3-nager, which I agree with 100% because the attitude came out of nowhere. It's like watching my wife as a midget. Watching those 2 go at it's hilarious. So because it's literally like watching the same person argue each other. Like, all right, break it up. I'll watch it for a little bit because it is pretty entertaining. And then our youngest is just she's a world of her own. Like she doesn't care about anything. She's zero fear, zero anything.
That's
like
just
mine is. Yep. She just does whatever she wants, and she'll get hurt and cry for 15 seconds and then want to know where her snack's at. Like,
yeah. Sounds like a second born.
Yeah, my I would say very similar to your daughters sound just like my sons. The first one, he's a total 3-nager. I mean, he argues with he's very particular. He always wants everything done in a certain way. Like before he goes to bed, he's got to put all the toys on the counter and they don't have to be facing like this, like the same direction. My youngest, he just started walking a couple months ago, and starting to like babble some words and stuff, but man, he's just reckless, just walking bruise.
Yeah.
And I mean, but it's funny, like you're starting to, like, I saw it this morning, like they're starting to fight with each other. Like, you know, like, cause one of them took a toy from the other one. And then it's like, he's old enough to now he's like actually like chasing him and reacting and like, versus instead of just laying on the floor and crying, now he's like chasing after him, yelling at him. And it's like,
get them boxing gloves.
Yep.
Oh man, our two went at it the other day in the driveway. All the neighbors, we all congregate to one. We all got kids around the same age. We all congregate to one driveway. And the other day, they were just sitting there. I don't remember what they were fighting over, but the two of them just started pushing each other and were really going at it. And I think the neighbors watched me like, you gonna do something? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna see who asserts dominance early.
Let's let this play out.
Yeah. If it gets too bad, I'll break it up. But let them, you know, Daisy's got to show her, our youngest has got to show her, show that she's going to be the dominant one, because I don't have to let them figure it out. I know who's going to be the dominant one.
Yeah, I've made the joke that I'm going to only teach one of them jujitsu. So
yeah.
the one that's nicer to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, our youngest won't even need jujitsu. She'll just be a brute. She's just solid, like just whatever. She's something.
Yeah. You got him into like dance or any gymnastics or anything like that?
No, not yet. I think because we've talked about, because our oldest likes to dance and whatnot, and so we've talked about doing like a dance or gymnastics. But I think it's like generally once we find out like 5 is when they'll let them start. Which sucks because like our 3-year-old, I know everybody thinks their kids are smart, but man, she has just been like, she was talking before 1, she was doing her ABCs and stuff before she was 2. Like she's just far beyond what I don't know where she came from, because it didn't come from me, but she is just far beyond where she should be. And it's like, oh, we need to start getting her into things now. And it's like,
well, what's that place that you were taking?
Yeah, we take our kids to a place called Kids Strong. It's in up in Creve Coeur. It's really cool. And I was like, I was talking to Gina. I was like, this is such a cool, like, it's such a cool concept. I just wish that there was a location a little bit closer to our house, because we live in South County. I mean, it's like a 25-minute drive, so it's not too bad. But like, man, a place like this in like South County, somewhere off Lindbergh, would fucking kill it. But it's kind of like a kid's like CrossFit class / like gymnastics class. They do like public speaking. They do like the very first thing they have to do when they get, when they all line up, they have to go shake the coach's hand and say, tell them their name. And then they have to get up on the little podium and they like talk. And then they put them through like these obstacle courses where they'll be like climbing rope or doing monkey bars or like, helping them do all those things, jumping off boxes, balance beams, learn how to somersault, stuff like that. But it's like a little workout kind of like class like that. And we take our 3-year-old there every Sunday, and he loves it. It's called Kids Strong.
You have to look into that. That sounds super
it's
interesting.
Really cool.
Yeah, I bet.
Their whole thing is, I am strong, I am brave, and I can do this. That's like what they say. Like, yeah, I am. Yeah, but it's cool. We've really he's really liked it a lot, and he looks forward to going. So made some friends there, and we just started preschool for my oldest a couple weeks ago. So that's been the newest thing for us, and it's been he's liking it. It was a little hard at first. Like he had a hard time kind of like leaving or like dropping him off. But I mean, after like the second or third time, he was completely fine. He like looks forward to it.
Yeah.
Making some friends. And, I just want to be a fly on the wall to see what's going on in those rooms. Just to hear what the conversations and like, cause you don't get a whole lot out of them. Like, hey, I was school today. Like, what'd you guys do? And yeah, we read a book about a turtle. I'm like, okay, I know you did more than that. You were there for 4 hours. Like, give me some more, please. Yeah. But
it doesn't change. My kids are in kindergarten and first grade. Hey guys, how was school day? Good. Did you guys learn anything exciting? No, not really. I'm like, well, what did you do? Recess was fun.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Cool, guys.
Yeah.
Oh man, kids are great, man. It's just, you guys gonna have any more?
Ooh, that's a loaded question right now.
Oh, bro, we're having the same thing. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think 2 is great.
That's where
she's like, no, I want more.
Yeah, that's 100% where I'm at. My wife's 4 years older than me, so she always gives me the biological time clock. Like, she's run out of time, and it's like 2 is really good. And I've told her we had a lot of issues with our pregnancies and things like that. We've lost a handful of pregnancies. We actually lost one this year, and that was kind of like we did that, and I was like, oh yeah, we're having a third. Like I'm on board now, and then that happened again, and I'm like, and I'm done. Like this is just the emotional stress of it. But honestly, we talked about it, and I was like, I even talked to my therapist about it. I'm like, honestly, it's all selfish reasons that I don't want another one. Like I have what little bit of time I have, I enjoy. The little bit of money I have, I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, having a third one, like as much as I'd love them to death, it's like, oh man, it's a whole new life struggle of finances and time and
starting over kind of from that baby stage. And
that's where it's like, And then you've got, the two that at 2 and 3, you're just constantly moving with them and doing things and new things. And it's like, oh, now I'm going to start over with a baby that's completely, like, for lack of better terms, useless. That's completely relying on me to stay alive.
Right.
And then I have two that aren't relying on me, but still need me to stay alive.
Yes, exactly.
Because if you don't watch them, somehow they'll manage to hurt themselves. But
100%.
But so no, it's definitely a mental struggle for me on which way I want to go. I kind of was one of those, if it happens, it happens. I'd be fine with it, but I'm not exactly like pushing for it by any means.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd say we're similar boat.
I'm done. That makes it tough when it comes to dating, though. I mean, like, I've got 2, and I'm not opposed to dating somebody that has kids. I just don't want. Like, again, for the same reason, selfish reasons, really.
Yeah.
But also just like the thought of being almost 40 and starting over with a new baby. No, thanks.
Oh,
No, I mean, because I was 30 when Connor was born. So for me, that was like, that's a good age. Like, by the time they're like, I can still be fit. Like, I'm like in shape and work, like play with them and do all those things. I'm like, once I get to 40, but like, I'll be pushing 50 by the time this kid's graduating high school. I'm going to be, I don't know. I just don't want to go through that again. I don't want to
pushing 60.
What do you say?
You'd be pushing 60 if you have me at 40.
Yeah, I'd be pushing 60. What am I thinking? Math isn't mathing right now. I'll be almost 60. Yeah, I'm like, fuck that, So, that's how my parents were. I mean, they were older when they had me, but I always look back and remember, like, hey, they couldn't do a lot of the things that my other friends' parents could do, and like, I don't want that. Plus, now, like, I'm having a child. Would be having a child with a completely new person. That kid's gonna stay with me. Like, my biggest fear is like this new baby's gonna be with me 24/7. I got my other 2 that are bouncing back and forth, and I don't want them to ever think like they're not, like, I don't love them as much because they're not with me all the time. Like, that's one of my biggest fears, that my kids aren't ever gonna feel like they're loved because they'd be bouncing back and forth. And my ex-wife and I both have had this conversation, and for a while, her and her partner were thinking about having a kid, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I know for sure that I'm not.
Yeah.
So
that's gotta be hard. I guess it's something I never thought about, where you have one that's going to stay with you all the time, and then if the other 2 are coming and going, it's like, yeah, really tough.
Things shift when you get divorced. The way you think about things is a lot different. So
yeah, I can only imagine the difficulties that the new difficulties it instills. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is I mean, like I said, I have a great relationship with my ex-wife and her partner. We get along very well, and it's just they're happy. I haven't met somebody yet that's given me that lovey feeling again. So it's just like, you start thinking about this stuff as you start getting older, like. And then once you're dating and you start meeting you're going on dates with these women, and you're talking to them and finding out what they want. And like, I'm one that's going to dive deep real quick, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. Like, let's get this heavy shit done and out of the way. If we're compatible, cool, we're going to move forward with this. If not, hey, we wasted a week or 2. Okay. Like, it's not like it's going to kill anybody. But yeah, I mean, having those deep conversations very, very quickly allows you to, like, really find out, like, they're dating a lot of women that still want kids, and they're pushing that biological clock. And I'm just like, I'm sorry if that's what you want. Like, great connection, but you should probably go find somebody else.
Priorities, what's priorities first.
Right, I don't want to keep that from somebody. They're gonna fucking regret me as they get older. Like,
that's a difficult one I deal with having another one. Is like, I always think to myself, is my wife gonna regret me if we don't have another one in 10 years, or am I gonna regret keeping it from her, or do we have one and all of a sudden it turns everything into a nightmare, and life spirals to the worst? It's like, oh man, there's something. Again, we go back to those what if scenarios.
Yeah, you just don't know. Yeah, man.
All the things that nobody wants to talk about, but needs to be talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's these conversations, and I always tell people, like, when we do education classes and stuff, like, my favorite ones is when I don't finish my presentation, because people are so interactive, and we have conversations just like this, where somebody brings up a topic and it just spirals into all these different conversations. Because it's funny how when you get people in a room and just bring it up and have that open, that open forum of, you talk about whatever you want, the stuff that'll come out of people's mouths, and it's like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's not awesome that you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with, but it's awesome you were comfortable enough to let that out, because there's conversation. These conversations would be happening every day for people. 100%. And I think people would have less issues overall if you just had the ability to get it out
Oh, absolutely.
It's not even looking for a solution. It's
No.
just being able to say, hey, this is what's bothering me.
Just put it out there.
Yeah, it's those natural conversations that are always the best. Like not the ones that I would imagine it's the same way when you're teaching a class. It's just like when people are interacting and you're not even really getting to the content that you want. Like, I mean, for this, like, yes, we come up with a handful of questions that we want to ask people, and we always have more kind of like loaded in case there's like a lull in the conversation. But I feel like that's how we know when it was a good episode of the podcast is when we barely ask any of the questions that we had written down,
Or the questions just get answered
answered
Yeah.
naturally
through the conversation.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm like I was just scrolling through
flipping
here, and
through
I was
this
like, I mean, I
is-
feel like we've gotten. I was like, I could rip off a few more of these questions, but I was like, it's all shit that he's already answered
Right.
just naturally. So it's that's how I always know it's a good one is when we just
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 flow.
flows,
Yeah.
and it's great. But I know you were talking about before this about wanting to start a podcast. I think you'd be really good at it.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Yeah, it's I mean, I've learned, especially opening a charity. I didn't realize. Well, I did when I started getting into it because I'm, I go head first and full in on everything. So I was reading IRS documents and all kinds of papers and stuff on how to run a nonprofit. But since we've grown, it's like, oh, now I'm endeavoring. Like I never myself, like the first time I ever spoke on a public platform, like on a stage with people staring at me, I'm like, I'm a fireman. I always tell people, like when I teach, all right, just so you guys know, I'm just a dumb fireman that went through some shit, and now I'm here to tell you about it. But man, like when we endeavor into these new things, it's awesome. Like, and that's where the podcast came from, was just kind of like something again to open the platform for people to have a conversation or hear someone else have a conversation that understands that. That was the biggest thing I dealt with, was like I felt alone, even though I knew there was people all around me dealing with the same stuff I was. Like every time somebody asked me what's going on, it's like, you wouldn't understand. Then I got to Maryland and got to an open conversation, and it's like, holy shit, there's 40 other people here that understand.
And they're dealing with the same shit.
Yeah, it's a different story, different state, different city, whatever,
But-
different circumstance. But at the end of the day, our stories are all the same, and we all ended up in the same place.
Right.
And it's like I do it now, and when I just do like peer groups and stuff with people, and it's like I learn stuff. Like even in my like I go out to educate people, and I'll learn something by the end of it, because I'm like, oh, I never thought of something like that way. So it's like that's where the podcast was like, oh, let's just start getting another. And again, we're big on, like with the charity, like we don't charge anything. Like we even like we don't have a staff, we don't have a payroll, we got nothing. Everything's free. The only thing that comes out of people's pockets is if we do charge a copay for like therapy. Our therapists all have sliding scale rates, and we try to keep it like a bare minimum where it's some sort of buy-in for the individual. But like offering a podcast would be like offering another free informational or
yeah.
educational. We just started on our last series of education. We started videoing it. So we can put it up on YouTube. So if people can't join us, they can at least watch it. Cause I'm not going to charge for you to watch my YouTube channels or whatever, cause that's not the point.
Right.
The point is to
Right.
get you the information. So
Not trying to monetize it.
yeah, I'll tell you, our
trying to
first
help.
one that we launched, it was real screwed up because when I bought new cameras, a new camera and all kinds of stuff to do all this stuff, new mics and all this. I got so excited. I went first on our education, and instead of hitting record, I hit power. So I missed my whole presentation.
Yeah.
I got my clinical director that went after me. He did his, and I got his. So
Trust
we at least
me,
got something out of it. But
we've made that mistake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. Was it last Friday? Yeah.
Yeah, it was last Friday.
Last Friday?
We got 30 minutes in. Because we have to turn on both cameras, and then that thing.
I have
And
one job,
Pat's got one job. Yeah.
and I forgot.
yeah.
Yeah, we got 30 minutes in, and I look, because obviously you can see the timer, so I always
That's
look over, and like, oh, how far are we been going? And I look over, we're 30 minutes. I'm like, Pat, like, hey, let's stop this. Let's just restart.
Yeah. Do you remember everything you said?
Yeah,
Let's do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, honestly, he
he did.
told all the same stories again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great.
In the
Yeah.
exact same way, exact same mannerisms.
Oh, see, I
was
could
like,
never do
holy
that.
Shit, this is impressive.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's like when I teach, I always tell, if I have somebody that comes in, because I've had people that show up to like a couple different ones I've done, and I'm like, and I always ask, has anybody seen me talk before? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I promise it won't be anywhere the same. Slides might look the same, but my brain is not the same today. So we'll talk about something completely different, I promise, because I don't know what I talked about the last time we talked. So
Well, no, I think a podcast for you and what you're talking about and everything would be great. I know that we've got one that's through the same production company with a police officer called Built Different, Colin Ledbetter. He was shot and killed.
yeah, I know the last
Yeah,
name.
he was with Speece. They were partners originally, but he has a podcast that he does and talks. And basically, he's doing something similar. Actually, we should probably connect you guys, because I know that he goes around and talks with police departments about the mental side of things.
Yeah.
And mental health, because that's what he's struggled with since coming back from it. And so I'll have to connect you guys
Yeah, for
together
sure.
because I think you guys, he could I think you guys could partner up and do something pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm game for anything. I love the opportunities to be able to get out and talk about what we're doing and just getting these conversations started. Because
absolutely,
that's biggest. Even if somebody on over the air hears us talking about it and brings up a conversation in the car they're in or at the table they're at, and it's like, oh, we did our job. Like that was the point.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about this too, is it's going to be recorded and it's going to be out there forever.
Yeah.
And we just want, we always, when we started this, we're like, we want to bring positivity back to like, especially manhood and fatherhood and things like that. Cause it's gotten negative for so long.
Yeah.
And so that was always our biggest thing, was like, we're going to keep things positive. We're going to have good guests. We're going to have good conversations, but it's going to be positive.
Yeah.
So I know that doesn't always sell, but hey,
no, negativity sells, but positivity is where you get.
If it reaches somebody and makes a difference, that's all. If one person, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree 100%. And that's like even the mental health. I mean, I've heard conferences and people talk, and it's like, it's nothing but down, down, down. This is what's wrong with you. This is what's wrong with you. Here's why you're screwing up. Here's this. It's like, well, why don't we teach them how to not get to that point? Let's make it a positive. Like I could have taken, and that's kind of the, not to pat myself on the back or give myself the credit, but like I could have taken that whole terrible scenario I went through and just lived my entire life off the identity of it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. Like I want to make a difference now. Like
you're going to break the stigma.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, is just like for so long, I mean, think about, like, I know my dad did. It is like, oh, just toughen up. We don't have, don't talk about your feelings. Don't talk, like, that's the bullshit. That's why our generation, I think, is breaking the stigma, because we got tired of hearing that bullshit.
Yeah.
We know that that's actually a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So
I still remember there's calls in my early career that's like, you'd be get back and you're still deer in the headlights. Like, what the hell did we just do? And the old captain be like, I don't know. What do you want for dinner? Yeah. Don't talk. Well, no. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not your therapist. Like,
right.
No, but we deal with your feelings later.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I just won't deal with them.
Bottle these up and
push them down. How deep can I get this? Oh, yep. That's pretty deep.
Oh, they're boiling back up.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
Stay down there.
Trying to
you
keep
get a shot of whiskey. It'll go away.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll drown it out.
Yeah. Well, the other thing we like to think about with this podcast is it's kind of like a time capsule for us.
Yeah.
If something were to happen to us, our kids can look back and be like, hey, that's what dad was like at that age, and like what he was thinking at that time. I mean, taking that same thought process, your daughters see this in, 15, 20 years. What's one message you would want to leave them?
Oh man, just don't do what I did. No, I honestly just that even if I'm not here and just looking at it as I even like something I did a while back, and it was just one of those days I was having a down day, and I actually wrote them letters. So like if anything ever happened to me on the job, like just something for them to have, just to remember me by. And it was like, man, just, I love you. I'll always be by your side. And it's like, just push through life. You're capable of anything. Like it's anyone that tells you, like anyone in society, like you're capable of whatever the hell you want to do. Like you just got to have the drive and the motivation, and there'll be hundreds of thousands of people telling you can't do it. But I had people telling me I couldn't get through my mental health crisis, and that'll be me the rest of my life. And, I'll be dealing with this for the rest of my life. Guess what? I'm not. Like, it's still there. It's still part of me. But like letting them know that, like, hey, things don't define you. It's just the past. Like, you get past is the past for a reason. Absolutely. Back there. So just grow up and don't make some of the dumb decisions I made.
Perfect, man. Well, Mike, this has been great having you in here, man. Is there anything you wanted to chat about that we didn't get to yet?
No, I just, kind of the biggest thing is with Break the Stigma is, getting our name out there and getting the message. It's not even about the fundraising and all that. And I like the CFA, I appreciate their fundraiser they just did. That was a huge year end for us. It'll go through. We've already actually started using it. We had contacts in the last couple of days that have utilized some of it already.
That's awesome.
But it was, just letting people know that, our message is there and that our mission's out there and that people know we're available. Kind of even if it's just to call and chat, or if they need resources or whatever it is, or want to come to one of our educations, is people knowing that there's someone out there that does care, and there's a whole team behind me that cares, and that we want to break that stigma and we want to make change. And just knowing that those options are available and there's someone that does care and they're not alone. So that's kind of my biggest takeaway that I'd want to add is just, if you're interested in what we're doing or what we have to offer, reach out to us, check out our website, whatever it is, socials. Socials
what are those?
So websites, just breakthestigmainc.com. Takes you straight to our website. It's got all of our information, events, resources, just generic stuff. We got photo galleries and all kinds of stuff. You can look at previous events, watch all our videos. And then socials are just Break the Stigma Inc. And again, I try to keep, I'm not a social media expert by any means, but I try to keep them up to date and keep it going, but not great at it, especially Instagram. I haven't figured that one out yet. But yeah, check all those out. And if you know a first responder, just let them know we're out there. If you're interested, go to our events page on there too. We got some fundraisers coming up. It's how we operate. We're not, I try to keep it as much under fundraising and private donations as possible because that gives us unrestricted funds to an extent. So if somebody, I don't have to play with what money I have and what's available, like what you need is what we're going to help you get.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I love it. Well, we end the show the same way every time. So before we get you out of here,
Play a little game. We call it the tombstone game. Here lies Mike. What's it say on your tombstone?
He tried.
There you go.
That's perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everybody at home who is listening or watching this episode. Please check out Mike's charity if you guys, if anybody out there needs anything, first responders out there need anything. Please click that subscribe button for us if you haven't done so already. That would help us out a ton. Pat and I have a goal to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube before the end of 2025. So help us hit that goal. Share this episode with someone who would enjoy it or get something out of it. Hit that like button as well. Comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.